Pranams, namaskars to the revered monks gathered here, distinguished guests, devotees, friends. It's wonderful to be back here once again in this evening at the Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture in Gold Park. The subject, as Maharaj has said, is a very interesting subject, eye of the eye. But before we get to the eye of the eye, mobile. The students, I remember once, a little boy, several years back, when mobiles were first introduced, said, Maharaj, apnara tinte shanti den keno? Why do you say shanti, shanti, shanti 3 times? I explained, adi daivik, adi bhautik, adhyatmik, vigno, and to overcome that, 3 shantis. Then he said, you need a 4th shanti, mobile shanti. Therefore, don't record. I know some of you are recording. So whatever you have recorded, that's it. Now don't record. Switch off the mobile phones. Keep them on silent. If you don't want to switch it off, keep it on silent. Do not record. Yes, that's it. Shut it down. Yes. Shravana means concentrated hearing with great attention. The mobile may hear and record, so the mobile may get mukti or moksha, but what about us? So, for the time being, you can switch off the mobile or put it on silent. Don't record now during the talk and listen. এখানে কথা বললে কিন্তু আমি শুনতে পাচ্ছি এখানে. Right. So that's one thing. Now, this subject, the eye of the eye, those who have read Vedanta will immediately identify it with the Kena Upanishad. Yesterday, we were reading some wonderful extracts from Swami Brahmananda, the memoirs from Swami Brahmananda in Ramakrishna Mission Ashram, Narendrapur. The Brahmachari Maharaj was reading, he said, Raja Maharaj is saying, Oi, Kena Upanishader mantrata balo, Vidyate Hridaya Granthi. I said, but that is not Kena Upanishad. That is from Mundaka Upanishad. Is it wrong? Then a senior, Jani Mohanto Maharaj, he looked over, hey, ki porchish? Raja Maharaj bolchen, keno? Oi Upanishader mantrati balo? O keno take keno upor pore diyeche. So Kena Upanishad, the language is the language of the Kena Upanishad. Ear of the ear, the eye of the eye, eye of the eye, mind of the mind, speech of the speech. So then in line with that, I have added eye of the eye. That is where the subject has come from. Where does it come from? Thakur says, Sri Ramakrishna says in Sri Ramakrishna Upadesh, he says, Manush নিজেকে চিনতে পারলে ঈশ্বরকে চিনতে পারে. And then he gives a description of what it means, নিজেকে চেনা. When a person recognizes or realizes who I am, you realize who God is. And then he adds mysteriously, Amar amitto gele ishwar dekha den. It's mysteriously. But then he explains after that ami du rokomer. Paka ami or kacha ami. This journey from the kacha ami, the unripe ego, to the ripe ego, from the unenlightened ego to the enlightened, সেটাকে ego বলা যায় না. It becomes one with our real nature. Shankaracharya also, he sings, Mano buddhya ahankara chittani naham. How interesting. Ahankara naham. We understand. Mano naham. I am not the mind. I am not the intellect. I am not the memory. But I am not I. What does it mean? Ahankara naham. If you translate it literally in English, it will mean I am not I. That means I am not the ego. I am not the kacha ami. And therefore, once you do that denial, once we do that negation, then only we can honestly claim Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham. So this transition, I from the I to the eye of the eye. I read many years ago, Prabhu Maharaj, when he passed away, towards the end of his life, his eyesight had failed. And then he would joke humorously to the senior monks who would gather around him towards the end of his life. Amar aita chole geche. Double meaning. Ai chole geche. And the others would say, Maharaj, amader jonno ekটু রাখুন. A very poignant appeal. hold on to this limited personality a little bit more for our sake, so that you can stay with us for a little more. So this is the I of the I. This question of who am I? What am I truly? But set in the beautiful language of the Kena Upanishad, not Kano Upanishad, Kena Upanishad. Look at the question. The Upanishads start with questions. Bhagavad Gita starts with questions. Many Advaitic texts are designed in such a way that they are like dialogues, question and answer. Recently, I was speaking with this gentleman at the airport. He was an IT professional working in AI. Everybody's working in AI now. I heard they have introduced AI in class 6 also. So anyway, I said to him that I hear talk that you don't have to teach anything to kids anymore. All that you have to teach them is this new subject called prompt engineering. Prompt engineering means giving a prompt to the AI, asking a question to the AI, and everything else the AI will do. The AI will take care of the child's education. The child only has to learn how to ask the right question to AI. So I was saying, sort of negative, pessimistic way of speaking. And that gentleman, he said, why, Maharaj? All your Gita, Upanishad, everything is prompt engineering. Arjuna gave a prompt to Krishna, and Krishna replies. Nachiketa gives a prompt to Jamaraj. Jamaraj replies, your Upanishad, your Gita is all prompt engineering. And he said, see, artificial intelligence, yes, but what we need now is AI, Advaitic intelligence. So I said, yeah, that's a positive way of looking at it. So this inquiry into ourselves, this question, Keneshitam patati preshitam mana, kena prana prathama prayiti yukta, keneshitam vacham vadanti, chakshu shrotra kaudeva yunakti. How do I experience these thoughts which are arising in my mind? What impels them? Where do they come from? How do I have this experience of thinking, remembering, desiring, hating, understanding? All our inner mental experiences, and this breath, prana, this mukhya prana, prathama prana. How is it that we are experiencing this breath? How is it that we are experiencing, I'm seeing you, I'm hearing, I'm smelling, I'm tasting, I'm touching. All these experiences, these words are coming from my mouth. How is all this happening? What one shining being, Kaudeva, what one shining being illumines all these varied experiences? There's one of the leading neuroscientists of the world. He calls consciousness the feeling of life itself. He has written a book, Christoph Koch, The Feeling of Life Itself. This feeling of life itself, everything in our lives. The student is asking, what one light, Kaudeva, what one shining being illumines all of this? Prompt. And the rest of it is the reply from the teacher. Reply starts from the teacher. But consider the question. This is something I've started doing recently. Our philosopher, Arindam Chakravarti, he said, Swami, stay with the question. We are in a hurry when we find a great question. Arjuna is asking a question and we feel, Ito amader prashno, this is our question. And we want to know, what will Sri Krishna say about it? When Nachiketa asks, what is there beyond death? Yes, we want to know. This is our question. So, we want to know the answer to these questions. And we jump ahead. But Professor Chakravarti is saying that stay with the question. Make it your question. Let the question vibrate within you. Taste, assimilate that question. How do you stay with the question? That also, উনি একটা খুব সুন্দর কথা বললেন, প্রফেসর অরিন্দম চক্রবর্তী, দার্শনিক যিনি, ফিলোসফার. He said, মহারাজ, আমি প্রত্যেক প্রশ্নের, দার্শনিক প্রশ্ন, প্রত্যেক প্রশ্নের আরতি করি. পঞ্চপ্রদীপের শিখায় আরতি করি. Every question, I do an arati of the question. How? I have a lamp, aratrika lamp with 5 flames. What are the flames? Upanishad, number 1. Gita, number 2. Yoga Vasishta, number 3. Tantralok is an specialist in Kashmiri Shaivism. Tantralok. And Ramakrishna Kathamrita. A Pancha Pradipar Alote, in this I do arati of a question. That means you evaluate that question. You stay with the question. Then move on to the answer. But the question is very important. I'm thinking, now we have come to that age where we are saying now all you need to do, all you need to learn is how to question. Answer will come from AI. But everything depends on your question. So stay with the question. What a brilliant question. Thousands of years ago. Today, if you ask, there's a hot subject is consciousness studies. And what are they studying? If you ask, what are you studying in consciousness studies? They will tell you, this experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, thinking, cognition, memory, intellect, emotion, pain, pleasure. This is what we are studying. But this is the exact question that the student asks all these thousands of years ago. How am I getting all these experiences? The question about the one sadhu named this mobile phone Korno Pishach. Korno Pishach. How do we get these experiences? Now notice, notice, this is all right, this happens. How do we get these experiences? Now, there might be a straightforward answer to all this. How do I see? What's the big deal? There is the ophthalmology department, go there, they will tell you. How do you see ophthalmology department? Go to the Calcutta Medical College library, shelves of books will be there on the eyes. How do I hear? ENT doctor will tell you how you hear. But the student here is asking a question about what is that one thing which gives me all these experiences? It is not a question about the body. It's not a question about the physique. It's not a question about physiology. It's not even a question about psychology. These are all different subjects. Not about the mechanism of the eyes or of the ears. It's not about how the mind works, psychology. Rather, this is a question about something deeper than all of them. It's not asking how the eyes work, but why am I having the experience of vision? Why am I able to experience hearing? Why am I able to experience thoughts? Why am I able to speak? Not the physical side of it. This experience of speaking, anubhava. This experience of the breath. Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad says, Koh anyat, kah pranyat, yadi esha akasha, ananda nasyat. What poetry! It says, who could breathe in, who could breathe out if this akasha, ananda akasha were not there? This is the outpouring of the bliss of Brahman, that you take one breath in and you release another breath. It's your anubhavta. Not the physical action of the lungs. That's secondary. So it is one question. This is the question they are asking, the question of philosophy, a philosophical question about consciousness. It is the most important question today and the most hotly debated question today. A few years ago, Oxford University Press, they released just a sort of a promotional thing. 5 great unsolved questions of philosophy. In philosophy, all questions are unsolved. Till now, not one question has been solved. But that's all right. But 5 great unsolved questions of philosophy. And if you look at those 5 questions, you'll find 4 of those 5 questions relate to consciousness directly. 1, who am I? And consciousness related. How do we know anything? How is knowledge possible? Question about epistemology. Consciousness. What is free will? Again, related to consciousness. Consciousness, samprikto. What is death? Not in the physical sense. That doctors will decide, lawyers will decide what is physical death. But as a conscious being, amader bhetor theke, what does death mean? What will it be to die? Again, related directly to consciousness. The last question was about global justice, indirect, but 4 out of 5 great questions, according to Oxford University Press, apnara pore Google kore dekhte paren, is about consciousness. These are the central questions of philosophy today. Recently, there was this science journalist, very rich man, but he's very interested in the great questions of science. Robert Lawrence Kuhn. Some of you may have heard, Closer to Truth. He runs a podcast, Closer to Truth. About 20 years he's been meeting the greatest scientists in the world, philosophers in the world. And one of the questions he asks is, come here, Shamne Boshan. Yeah, there, come. Oh, reserved ache. Yes. Yeah. His 20 years he has been searching, interviewing people. One of the questions he's asking, main questions is, what is consciousness? What is consciousness? And he says, he has researched this topic thoroughly and he has found, how many answers to this question? What is consciousness? Not one answer, not two answers, not 10 answers. 325 answers. 325 theories from the ancient times in different religions, different philosophies, down to modern science. 325 different varieties of answers, theories to explain consciousness. And he has categorized them. There is an interview on YouTube. If you look it up, you will see 325 theories of consciousness. If you see, he has been interviewed, 3-hour-long interview. And he starts that interview by saying one of the oldest views of consciousness, one of the most sophisticated, is the Vedantic view of India. He starts with that. But he says many, and most of them are materialistic theories. That consciousness is nothing more than the body, nervous system, brain, and so on and so forth. So 325 views. But then there he makes two comments. One comment is, when you have 325 theories, it simply means we do not understand at all. What is science? When you narrow down the options to 2 or 3 or 4 theories and then finally come to one theory, then you say we know this. If it's accepted by the peers, peer review passed, we know it. Now you can put it in textbooks. Later you can revise it also. So, if you have 325 theories, it is like we do not know. We do not know what consciousness is. He says, what do we need now? We need one more theory, 326th theory. One theory to really explain consciousness. And the second point he makes there is, whatever your theory of consciousness, all the greatest questions of human life depend on your theory of consciousness. Think about it. Death. What is death? If consciousness is something which is produced by the body, when the body dies, finished, no consciousness. If you subscribe to a materialistic theory of consciousness, with the destruction of the body, destruction of the nervous system and brain, no more consciousness. Gone. So that is death. But if you follow, say, an idealistic theory, like Buddhism or Advaita or many others, then even when the body is dead, consciousness will persist. So depending on your theory of consciousness, your answer to the greatest questions, what is that? What is the meaning of life? Is there any purpose of life? Questions about AI, questions about the survival of the individual beyond death. These questions, all big questions, questions of right and wrong, morality, all of them, Robert Lawrence Kuhn says, depends on your theory of consciousness. How you view consciousness. It is a tremendously important question. It is a meta question. It is a question of questions. The student asks in the Kena Upanishad, by what? Kena, by whom are these thoughts inspired? By whom by what do I have the experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching? The core of my life, my entire life is because of this one thing, consciousness. Sri Ramakrishna says, I am using these words in a different sense. Maybe he did not mean it in this sense. He says you put a lot of zeros together. It will amount to nothing. But if you put one before the zeros, all the zeros will get value. I am saying, in one sense you can interpret this way. Let that one be consciousness. Then all the other zeros, whether senses, body, mind, our religion, economics, politics, spirituality, AI, whatever it is, they will all get value. They are all zeros which get value because you are conscious. So this question about consciousness is a paramount question. One philosopher says the answer was discovered thousands of years ago. This consciousness studies is not a new subject. Evan Thompson is not a new subject. It is a subject which started on the Indo-Gangetic plains in the texts called Upanishads. Those Upanishads are so significant in human history. He says our history should be dated not AD and BC, but before Upanishad and after Upanishad, he says. Evan Thompson. So this is the significance of the question. Swami Vivekananda says, these questions have been asked from the most ancient times, but each generation must ask it for themselves. We are children of the 21st century. We are not children right now. We are not children of the Vedic ages. We are not children of the Buddhistic age or the Puranic age. We are children of the 21st century. We are children of the age of quantum theory and AI. We must ask the question in our complex environment. The same question. Then it will become our question once again. And then again Vivekananda says, it's not that answers were not found. Answers were found. But as the centuries rolled down, the answers gathered strength, he says. Imagine, the same Upanishadic answer. Same answer. When challenged by the Buddhists, then you have the emergence of the philosophical systems. The sophistication, all systems become more and more sophisticated through the development of the darshana, shastrartha, debate. You have the same answer in a stronger, more logical, more rational format. And today, again, when challenged by science, technology, the same answer will again gather strength. The same Upanishadic answer. What does it mean in terms of AI? What does it mean in terms of quantum theory? What does it mean in our globalized world? What does it mean in a world where there are all religions are together, not only within the context of Hinduism, not only in the context of India and the Indian religions, but across the world for all religions and no religion. For those who are spiritual but not religious, for those who are atheist, what does this question mean today? What do these answers mean today? So, this is the grand background where we are asking the eye of the eye. What is the eye of the eye? What is the answer? Let's go back to the Upanishadic answer. Keno Upanishad. Kano. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yad vachoha vacham sa upranasya pranaha chakshushas chakshur atimuchya dhira pretya aslokadamrita bhavanti. Wonderful answer by the teacher, and again in enigmatic language. This Keno Upanishad is brilliant in terms of language also, in terms of paradox also, and thrilling and unexpected. Every verse, every mantra tells you something you did not expect. So the amazing question, now the answer comes. You want to know why you are able to hear? Yes, it is because of the ear of the ear. Why you are able to see? Because of the eye of the eye. Why you are able to think? By now the student will have understood. Mind of the mind. Yes, mind of the mind. Speech of the speech. Prana of the prana. What does he mean? What does the teacher mean? He says, notice the language. If you read closely, you find three things. Ear of the ear. The direct answer would have been, how do I get the experience of hearing? Ears. No. It is something distinct from the ear. Therefore he's saying ear of the ear. Eye of the eye, eye of the eye, mind of the mind, speech of the speech. That means it's something distinct from the ears, eyes, mind and speech. Also, singular, ekvachan. That means that which is the ear of the ear is also the eye of the eye, is also the mind of the mind, is also the speech of the speech. And third, he is not saying something utterly different from the ear, because he is using the words ear of the ear. Eye of the eye. That means there is something which is distinct from the ears, eyes, mind, speech, and yet pervading the ears, eyes, mind, speech. And it is one thing which illumines all of them and makes them do what they are designed to do. It is like electricity. This microphone amplifies sound. This light illumines the hall. The camera, it takes images. But in the shop, when they were in the shop, before they were bought here and plugged in, they did not do anything at all. Once you bring them here, plug them in, Suddenly they do all sorts of different things. And the clock is showing you time. They do all sorts of different things. Now you may ask, what is it? What is that one thing which got into the microphone, into the light, into the clock, into the camera, which makes the microphone amplify sound, and the light illumine the hall, and the camera take images, and the clock tell time? What is that one thing? We will answer, of course, electricity. Yes. Can we call electricity the mic of the mic, the light of the light, the camera of the camera, the clock of the clock? That is what the teacher is trying to say. There is something distinct from the body, from the mind, from the senses, which illumines the body, mind, senses and gives us the varied experiences which Christoph Koch calls the feeling of life itself. It pervades the body, illumines the body and the mind and the senses. And that one thing, it is not physical. Ear of the ear, other than the ear is physical. It is not physical. It is not physiological, the life functions which keep this body alive. Prana is physiological, but it is prana of the prana. It is not even psychological, not mind. Mind is psychological, but it is mind of the mind. So beyond the body, beyond prana, beyond the indriyas, beyond the senses, beyond the physiological functions, beyond psychological activity, there is something. And that one illumines and gives light and our experience in all our dimensions, in our physical experience, physiological experience, psychological experience. That one, instead of saying consciousness, it says, it just points out in this way. I remember many, many years ago, a sadhu, wandering monk, wearing kopin, sitting in one corner of ashram in Konkhal. We had one very senior Swami there, Mahabir Maharaj. Yes. He said, "You are very interested in Vedanta? Come with me. I will show you a great sadhu." So we went. The old Swami who was sitting there, his name was Ramananda Saraswati. So we went to meet him. I went, and before I could say anything, that monk was sitting in a corner of a room on the floor, wearing only a loincloth. I bowed down to him. He told me these three things. They were so important, so significant. Before I asked a question, that I went back to my room in the ashram and wrote them down, and I carry that scrap of paper with me till today. 21 years later. What did he say? Three things only. Swarup apne jagah theek hai. Your real nature is perfectly fine. Atman, Brahman, pure consciousness, perfectly fine. No problem at all. Usko upalakshit kaise kare? How will you experience it? Then he says, Bijli sarvatra hai. Electricity is everywhere. Usko upalakshit kaise kare? How will you experience it? Upalakshit is a technical term. Anyway, how will you experience it? How will you ascertain the presence of the electricity which you can't see? And then he says, ये जो बल्ब जल रही है, ये जो फैन घूम रही है, इससे पता चलता है कि बिजली है. This light is shining, this fan is going round and round. That points to the presence, the all-pervading presence of electricity. And then he did not explain any further because he knew I'm a Vedantic monk, I can understand for myself. How do you know about the presence of the Swarupa, which is perfectly alright, pure consciousness? How do I know? Because you see, because you hear, because you smell, because you taste, you touch, because you breathe in and you breathe out, because you think, because you imagine, because you remember, because you feel pain, because you enjoy pleasure, because you are awake, because you dream, because you sleep. Because of all of these and more, that pure consciousness is right here. That's what makes it all possible. And then he said, Ab is sharir ka kya karna? Now you have realized this truth. What will you do with, what is the purpose of the body now? The purpose of the body was to become enlightened. Suppose you are enlightened now. Beautiful answer. Ishwar ka hai, Ishwar ko arpan kar do. This body belongs to God. It was given to you for Brahma Jnana. Now you have attained Brahma Jnana. Now what will you do? Let the body go in the service of God. He knew I was a monk of Ramakrishna mission. Let the body go in the service of God. Third point, aur dekho ahankar na ho. Be careful that don't fall prey to I. Not eye of the eye. Now I'm telling you about the eye of the eye. Don't go back to that first eye again. Don't slip back. Just 3 points. I wrote them down. I still have it in Manhattan there. Scrap of paper written 21 years ago. Essence of Vedanta. The idea of this eye of the eye. Moving from the eye to the eye of the eye. What will happen? Atimuchya dhira. The Upanishadic master says, transcending thus the qualified one. Very interesting word. Atimuchya. Transcendence. What does transcendence mean? The moment I see that I am not this I am that light, I am that awareness which illumines the mind, the senses and the body and gives me the various experiences, physical, physiological, psychological, sensory. I am that shining I. The moment I know that, I have transcended body-mind. Transcending body-mind does not mean leaving the body like a puff of smoke coming out somewhere, out of body experience. No. Here in the body, knowing that I am not the body. Here with the mind, knowing that I am not the mind. I am not something physical. I am not something psychological. You are in the car, but you know you are not the car. You will say, what a ridiculous idea. Of course I am not the car. Correct. Exactly like that, the Upanishad says, this body is a car. Even the mind is a part of the car. You are not the car. You are not even the driver. You are the passenger. This body, mind is Ola. You have called it. It has come. Yes, we have called it. Our previous karma phala has called this. It has come. We are riding it for our spiritual evolution. At one point it will drop you off. Death. It will go back to the 5 elements from which it has come. But you are not part of it. You are not born with the birth of the body. You will not die with the death of the body. It's not that you came into being when you entered the Ola. And if you leave the Ola, you will die. No. The Ola will go away. Our Swami in Berkeley, he said, Swami, I will take you and give you a nice experience. In San Francisco, he called, a vehicle came. No driver. Waymo taxi. No driver. It came. Maharaj Boshun, and sit in the front. So I sat in the front, handle is moving, no driver. I was reminded of, Upanishad says that, Shariram Rathameva Viddhi. The body is a Ratha, a car, a chariot. And the senses are the horses. The roads are, what is the freeway? The roads. The 5 Roop Rash Gandha Sparsha, what we experience in the world. Senses are running on that. And what is the mind? So I am the mind. No, you are not the mind. Mind, lagam, the reins by which we hold the horses. It is the steering wheel. And who is the driver? Oh, I am the driver. No. Buddhi to saranthim viddhi. The intellect is the driver. This intellect by which we are doing all this vichara, that's also part of the car. And it was more clear in that Waymo, in the taxi, because there is no driver. There is no other human being except you. The driver is the car is that the driver is also the car, driverless car, and it took me for a ride, literally and figuratively, in San Francisco, and then dropped me off, me and the other monk. And then that monk said, he said, I will ask ChatGPT, compose a poem about 2 Hindu monks who went on a ride in a driverless car in San Francisco. Within seconds, beautiful poem. I still have that poem. It's a beautiful, well-written poem about 2 monks, calm and quiet as the lights of San Francisco flash by. Ki kavita. I said, taxi without driver, poem without poet. Ki jagatta yelo. Upanishad says long ago, it is exactly like that. This body, this mind, these senses, even the intellect, it's all driverless taxi, automatic. And you are there for the ride. You are the consciousness there. Realizing I am that. Right now we are under a peculiar delusion. We think we are the taxi. Yes, I am conscious, but this consciousness is part of the body and mind. We think it goes without asking. It's like saying the passenger is part of the car. Never. That car is entirely meant for you. Thousands of years ago, the great Sankhya philosopher said, Sanghata pararthatvat. Whenever you find a complex entity, the complex is for the benefit of somebody else. The bed is not for itself. The pillow is not for the cushion. Cushion is not for the blanket. No, bed, cushion, blanket, everything is for you, the one who's outside the bed, who will sleep in the bed. Similarly, this complex entity of the body-mind is for something outside, beyond the body-mind. Ati mucya. Realizing this, you transcend. Even while sitting in the ola, you know, I am not the ola. And knowing thus, what happens? You are freed. Ati mucya, freed. How are you freed? Now we realize what happens to the body stays in the body. What happens to the mind stays in the mind. It's not mine. They have a saying in America, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So they all go to enjoy, party in Las Vegas, but they don't want it to be known elsewhere. So they will stay in Vegas. So what happens in the body stays in the body. What happens in the senses stays in the senses. What happens in the mind stays in the mind. You are the witness of all of them. You are the light of all of these. Jyoti ra Jyoti. Every day in Arati we sing Ujjala Ridi Kandara in Khandana Bhavabandhana. It's from the Gita. Jyotisham apita Jyoti tamasah paramuchyate jnanam geyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya dhishtitam. It is the light of lights, forever beyond darkness. It is knowledge, it is the knowable and attainable by knowledge. And he says, it is in the hearts of all beings. Exactly what Swami Vivekananda says, Jyoti ra Jyoti, Ujjala Ridi Kandara. So, what am I? Earlier I thought, I am this body, mind. Yes, if you insist consciousness, consciousness ache. Maje maje ache. When I fall asleep, consciousness is gone. When I get general anesthesia, consciousness is gone. Not that consciousness. That is what we in Vedanta technically we call the reflected consciousness, Chidabhasa. But that which is, it's a reflection of that, the original of which this consciousness is a reflection of. You are that. I am that consciousness. The light of lights. Realizing this, I realize old age, disease, pain, body, hunger, thirst, prana. Excitement, depression, mind. Understanding, confusion, intellect. You're still using the mobile phone. I can see the light from here. You have to shut it down. Yes. Since it is in the body and in the mind and in the intellect, I am free of it. The body is born. I am not born with the birth of the body. The body ages. I do not age with the aging of the body. The body may get wrinkles. Does consciousness get wrinkles? Body may be overweight. Is consciousness overweight? Mind is depressed. Consciousness is not depressed. Consciousness is the witness of the depression in the mind. And the amazing thing is, once we have this attitude, the mind itself becomes calm. It's our overwhelming engagement with the mind which tortures and perverts the mind. When you step back from the mind, you realize the mind is an instrument. The intellect is an instrument. The body is an instrument. It is not me. It's not even mine actually. We are comfortable by saying, okay, I understand Swami. I am not the flesh and blood and bones and all that. I'm not that. Thank God I'm not this. But it is my body. I remember this earthy Hindi of a sadhu in Uttarakhand. It has a punch of its own. It is my body. Sharir aapka hai. Yes, it's my body. Kagaj dikhao. SIR. Where is your body? Where do you have the papers for the body? No. Aapko koi diya hai tohfa mein? Has somebody given it to you in a gift, this body? No. Did you make it? No. Not even your parents made it. Nature made everything. Do you own the materials out of which this body is made? Not even that. Why are you saying it's your body? No, you see, I control it. I can't control other bodies, but I control this body. Do you really? You have to go to physiotherapy unit and see the same simple operation. I will raise my hand. You will see people are there, they cannot. After a stroke, same hand, the simplest of operations, impossible. So much hard work is necessary, if at all. 25% functionality, 50% functionality, 60% functionality comes back. So there is some other great power which is working. Call it nature. Gita, Sri Krishna calls it Prakrityeva karmani kriyamanani sarvasha yapashyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati. Prakriti alone, nature alone is doing everything in this body. And the one who understands this realizes you are pure consciousness, the witness of the activities of Prakriti. Akarta. You're the witness of it. Still the body will act. Still you can identify with the body and mind, do everything. But know that you are not involved or touched by the activities and goings on of this body-mind. So wonderful. And if you attain this knowledge, you attain Pretyasmad lokad amrita bhavanti. Transcending this body-mind, one becomes free. Videha mukti after death and Jivan mukti before death. So this is the whole of Vedanta has been taught in this one sentence. What is the nature? What's our real nature? What is the I of the I? And if you transfer your identity from the I to the I, from the small I to the big I, then what will happen? This freedom, the result of Vedanta. Freedom from the sufferings of the body-mind. Freedom from the travails of the Ola. The student is very interested. This Upanishad is so exciting. The student is very interested. I must realize this. Please teach me. I want to know the I of the I. Now the teacher says, this, the twists and turns of the Upanishad. I can't teach you. You can't teach me. Why not? Don't you know yourself? No, I don't know. You don't know. Uttarakhandi will say, Maal nahi hai, dukaan khul ke baitha hai. You don't have the material. Why have you opened the shop? Na tatra chakshur gacchati na vag gacchati no manaha na vidmo na vijanimo yathaitad anushishyat. The poetry, the rhythm of it, thousands of years ago. I do not know it. I cannot teach it to you. Why not? Because I do not know it myself. Why don't you know it? Well, consider well, what is knowledge? Na tatra chakshur gacchati. You can't, it's pure consciousness. You can't see it. You can't hear it. You can't smell it. You can't taste it. You can't touch it. Na vag gacchati. You cannot speak about it. There's a story there. Swami, you're speaking about it. Books and books are written about it. Vast literature exists about it. Yes, but what is the result of all that vast literature and all these talks? Are you able to point it out? Yeah. I'm speaking about it. When I speak about the mobile, I can point out the mobile. When I speak about mathematics, I can explain mathematics to you. This pure consciousness, even if I'm speaking about it, it's impossible to point it out. Language cannot grasp it, cannot refer to it directly. Na tatra vag gacchati. Language does not go there. No manaha. You cannot even conceive of it. Now this seems impossible. This is where Immanuel Kant stops. 400 years ago. 300 to 300 years ago. He stops. No, less. He stops. It is unknowable. It is the thing in itself. There is such a reality, but it is unknown and unknowable. Upanishad says, where you have stopped, we are starting. The teacher says, there is a way of realization. But what he's saying, when he's saying that it cannot be known, it cannot be talked about, cannot be thought about, he is distinguishing the spiritual knowledge from our understanding of knowledge itself. What we think of as knowledge. We think of knowledge as reading something, asking ChatGPT about thinking of something. None of those are what is meant, but something else. It is not unknown or unknowable. Swami Vivekananda says in one of his Jnana Yoga lectures, you must not go away from here thinking it's unknown and unknowable. It is more than known. It is you yourself. The teacher says, Anya deva tad vidita dato avidita dadhi iti shushruma purvesham yenas tadvya chachakshire. The ancients have taught us a method. Here is a pointer. It is other than the known. Other than the known, I understand. It's unknown, so that's why I've come to you. It's other than the unknown. Whatever we know, whatever anybody knows, this is what I'm going to tell you about, the real nature, consciousness itself, is not that. It's other than that. So it's unknown, it's other than unknown. There are many, many things we don't know. Consciousness is not that. What is the only thing which is other than the known and other than the unknown? Look at the language, the paradoxical language. The only thing is the knower. The knower. The knower is the one who knows some things, and there is a vast range of things which is unknown to the knower. Other than that, all that unknown, other than the narrow band of knowledge, there is the knower. That knower is what this is a precise pointing out. Somebody said, all this talk about consciousness, just recently, in one word, in one phrase, please define consciousness. I said, nobody in the world, if you ask people in the world, they will give you 325 theories and fail miserably to capture consciousness. Advaita Vedanta, if you ask, straight away it will point. But you have to be capable of catching that point. Definition of consciousness, here is one. Anidam Chaitanyam, not this. The definition of consciousness is not this. Anything that you can label as this, it is not consciousness. Table, this table, so not consciousness. Shirt, this shirt, so not consciousness. Hand, this hand, so not consciousness. Breath, this breath, so not consciousness. Senses, these eyes, not consciousness. Thoughts, ideas, memories, this thought, this idea, not consciousness. Ego, the sense of I, subtlest of all, I. You can look inside and say I, but it still feels like this I. Not consciousness. But then at that point you will see that to which the ego is an object. If you look inside, that to which the ego is an object, that one is not pointed out as this. You cannot point it out as this. Sri Ramakrishna says, Manush nijeke chinte parle, Ishwar ke chinte pare. When you recognize who you are, you realize who God is. And then he points out, how will you recognize yourself? Very precisely those words. Bhalo kore bichar korle. He did not say dhyan korle, meditation. He did not say bhakti korle. He did not say social work korle. Bhalo kore bichar korle dekha jay. You will see if you inquire. That he says, dekha jay, rakto, mangsho, hard, in moddhe konta ami. Which one is I, which corresponds to I. When you say I, when I say a word, mobile, this is the object. Shirt, this is the object. Microphone, this is the object. When you say I, vertical I, what is the object? Body is not the object. This is separate from the I. The mind is not the object, separate from the I. You will say, Sri Ramakrishna says, you will find nothing corresponding to the I. He says it's like peeling an onion. You go body, prana, senses, mind, all like skin of an onion. You remove, keep removing. Finally, will you come to the I? No. You will not find anything corresponding to the I. So I don't exist, but I do exist. If there is one thing that I'm sure of, it's my own existence. Then this absolutely certain existence, but which you cannot find any object corresponding to it. Known object or unknown object. Then what is it? Then Sri Ramakrishna answers. Every sentence is precisely stated, and Swami Brahmananda has picked those sentences. He says, Sri Ramakrishna says, Ja thake tai dash chaitanya. Consciousness. After that he makes that statement, Amar amitto gele ishwar dekha jaye. So this consciousness which we come to is not an object. It's not an object of the senses, it's not an object of language, it's not even an object of thought, and yet it is utterly certain. That's your own existence, my existence. That is the nature of consciousness. I'll skip ahead a little. Those who have read Kena Upanishad, you will see. The teacher is going to test the student now. The teacher asks, so have you realized consciousness? Student says, yes. The teacher said, but I told you, it is, you cannot know it. Now you're saying I know it. If you think you know it, you don't know it. Very difficult question, because if the student says, yes, I know it, teacher will say, but I told you it is other than the known. How can you know it? If the student says, I don't know it, then fail, F grade, not passed. Then what will the student say? The teacher says, Mimamsyam evate, do Mimamsa. Inquire further. It's an ancient word, Mimamsa. If you ask a Pandit, what is Advaita Vedanta? They will say, Uttara Mimamsa. And this is the later Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa is Karma Kanda, Uttara Mimamsa is Vedanta. They don't like the terms Advaita Vedanta and all that. Uttara Mimamsa, it's a Mimamsa inquiry. Mimamsa means Pujita Vichara, reverential inquiry. into the Vedic texts. Student says, Manye Veditam, I think I know it. Now you can imagine the teacher rolling his eyes. What will I do with this fool? I told you, you cannot know it. The student says, stop. Let me explain. Student is one step ahead of the teacher. There's a Bengali saying, dale dale to pata hai. That thing. The student says, Naham manye suvedeti no na vedeti vedacha yonas tad veda no na vedeti vedacha. Look at the rhythm of the language. And so profound in poetry. All of this is poetry. I remember in Harvard University, we have to submit Deepak Maharaj was also there, Professor Garfield's course, extremely tough course. Final semester, final assignment, 25-page essay on what? Nothing. Emptiness, shunya. 25 pages. And as usual, students everywhere, Harvard, everywhere the students are the same. Oh, it is too much, please reduce it at 12 pages or something, make it half. Then the professor said, all right, I will make it 12 pages, but you have to write in poetry then. In verse. Everybody said, no, that is too deep, we can't do that. Then he says, imagine then, all these texts you are reading, all these ancient Indian philosophical texts, they are all written in Sanskrit poetry. The subtlest of thoughts, most precise of thinking, and yet written in poetry. How amazing it is. Anyway, such poetry, the student says, I am not saying that I know it. Ah, so you failed. Wait, I know it. Not that I do not know it, I know it. Not that I know it, I do not know it. And then he looks at the other students who are scratching their heads. What is this fellow saying? He's saying, among all of us, those who have understood my statement, that I do not know it, yet I know it. They know it. What is he pointing towards? It is not an object of knowledge. It is not known as an object, but it is the very subject. I do not know myself as an object, but will I say I am unknown? Not at all. I am first. After that, the world is known to me. And then the Upanishad or the teacher explains, Yasya matam tasya matam yasya na vedasa avijñātam vijānatam vijñātam avijānatam. Explanation of the teacher. Again, wonderful language. For those who feel that they do not know it, they know it. Those who are certain that they know it, they don't know it. For it is known to those who know and unknown to those who do not know. It is known to those who do not know and unknown to those who know. I can see your faces. Ki volche. That is the explanation. But what it means is the same thing. It's not an object. It's not something that we see, hear, smell, taste, touch. It's not something that we speak about, that we think. These are huge issues. I had a big debate recently, walking in Venice near the canals, with one of the leading AI experts of the world, scientists of the world. Google Gemini, the scientist behind it. I said, whatever it is, your AI cannot capture Brahman. Why? Because he was explaining how AI is a large language model and it's been trained in thousands of hours of language. So all the language, the entire human experience which is available on the internet has been made available to the AI. And therefore it can model the world and even model itself the way we do it, mimic it. I said, but Vedanta says Atman or Brahman, it's beyond language. Therefore it's beyond your large language model. But brilliant guy, he said, but Swami, all your Vedanta is expressed in language and it is entirely available to AI. In fact, they showed me AI. He called it Sarvapriyananda AI. It has been fed with 1,000 hours of my talks. And he says, ask it any question. So I asked it some difficult Vedanta questions. Very, very good answers. And better than I could give. And also, I cannot deny what it says because it's very clever. It will point out, in this lecture at this point, you said it. Because it knows everything. Whatever I said, 1,000 hours of videos, it has trained itself. So, it is encoded in language. Then can AI understand Vedanta? Can AI, why just Vedanta? Can it appreciate art? Can it feel emotion? Can it become conscious? Eye of the eye, ear of the eye. It has eyes, ears, all of that is there because it's driving a car. So its artificial sensors are there, artificial mind is there, artificial intellect is there. But artificial consciousness is there or not? AI, artificial intelligence, true. But is there artificial consciousness there or not? One scientist said, Bernardo Castro, he said, don't fall for these, they're trapping you in a network of words and concepts. Don't fall for this. It is like extremely complex, accurate modeling of the weather. Cyclone is coming. Supercomputer, detailed modeling of the cyclone. Every little detail of the cyclone is modeled there. But if you go to this computer and find out, not one drop of rainfall will be there in that. The weather is not there in the computer. It's a map of the weather. 100 years ago, Thakur said, Ponjika থেকে লেখা আছে এত জল আছে বৃষ্টি নিংড়লে এক ফোঁটা জল বেরোবে না ওটার থেকে. So that professor, that scientist and philosopher Bernardo Castro said, the amount of stupidity regarding consciousness and AI becomes astonishing the moment you get a PhD. There is no consciousness there, according to him. So there's a whole debate which is going on. But language. So those who think that they know, they do not know. Those who know that they do not know, they are the ones who know. But who are they talking about? Not the man on the street. If you go out to Goria and ask, so do you know Brahman? Jani na to? You are very enlightened then. Not like that. This is meant for the advanced student of Vedanta who has ascertained everything, the nature of consciousness, and then says it cannot be an object of knowledge. And yet it is more than known, according to Swami Vivekananda. The first and foremost light. After that, everything else is revealed. And then let me conclude with this, almost run out of time. I was building up to this. Now the next step comes. Most brilliant part of the Upanishad, according to me. Kano Upanishad. Most brilliant part. It comes. Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate. Atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindate amritam. Iha cheda vedi tata satyamasti no chediha vedit mahati vinashti. Bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhira. Pretyasmad lokad amrita bhavanti. What does it mean? When you recognize, when you realize Brahman in every experience of life, you attain to immortality. By making the mind fit for immortality, by culturing the mind, cultivating the qualities in the mind, one becomes fit for enlightenment. And by this knowledge of Vedanta, one attains to enlightenment. And if you become enlightened in this life, you have attained to truth. You have attained that which is most valuable. And if we do not attain enlightenment in this life, mahati vinashti, great is our loss. What should we do? Finally he sums it up, bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhira. In every entity, whatever you experience, in every experience of life, you can find it out. You can inquire and find that same consciousness is shining there. And by doing this, you attain to immortality. This passage is there. Sort of compresses the entire teaching. But I want to draw our attention to the first line, very short line, my favorite line in the entire Upanishad. Pratibodha viditam matam. In every experience, Atman, Brahman, God is shining. What a sudden switch, U-turn. Till now, the Upanishad was going on, neti, not this, making it more and more abstract. It is the year of the year. Year we understand. Year of the year, what is the year of the year? I we understand. Eye of the eye, mind of the mind, speech of the speech. Cannot be accessed by sense organs, cannot be accessed by the mind, cannot be accessed by speech. It is other than the known, other than the unknown, becoming more and more difficult, more and more subtle. Aro shukkho theke shukkhotor hoye jacche. And then the incredible, that students answer. It's not that I do not know, I know. But I do not know also. And those who understand that, they have really understood me. It is known to those who know, it's known to those who say that it cannot be known. And it is unknown to those who say it is known. Because it is, to those who say they know, it is unknown. To those who say it is unknown, it is known. All of this is so subtle. It is all neti. And suddenly, he turns it around, dramatically, grandly. He says, Pratibodha viditam matam. Now he opens up the gates. In every experience, you are experiencing that one consciousness, that one Atman. Having reached the roof of the house, he turns back now and sees the rest of the house is made of the same consciousness. Sri Ramakrishna's example, having reached the roof of the house, he says, Oi chad je eat kaat shurki de toeri, baki badita, the house which he has left behind, first floor, second floor, the staircase is made of the same reality. Pratibodha viditam matam. Can I take a few more minutes, Maharaj? 5 minutes, 5 minutes, yeah, to wrap it up. There's a very interesting thing here. I will give quickly five interpretations of Pratibodha Viditam Matam. I love this phrase. First 3 interpretations are trailer, teaser, not the real interpretation. The next 2 are very profound. First 3 interpretations are very nice, but they are not the real meaning. Pratibodha means to awaken somebody. So the guru awakens the disciple. Pratibudhyate, to wake up somebody. Get up. Similarly, the guru awakens the disciples. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. What does it mean? In the Upanishad it's there. Arise from the beginningless sleep of ignorance. Awaken to your reality as consciousness. So this is pratibodha, to pratibudhyate, to wake up somebody. First meaning. Second meaning, pratibodha means to become enlightened. I awaken. Guru is awakening me, first meaning. Second meaning is I awaken to my real nature. Aham Brahmasmi. Oh, I am not the body. The illness of the body is not my illness. The old age, the disease in the body, the ups and downs of the mind, they are not mine because I am the witness of all of that. I have awakened into my nature as limitless consciousness. Pratibodha, awakening. Second meaning. Still not the real meaning. Third meaning. Pratibodha is reversing the bodha. Usually our bodha is moving outwards. Paranchikhani vetrinat swayambhu tasmat parang pashyati nantaratman. Our senses are turned outwards. So we see objects out there. We hear sounds, we taste, we smell. We think about people, we think about events. Everything is externalized. Our attention moves outwards. Therefore, the Katha Upanishad says, we do not see the inner self, we do not see pure consciousness. So, Pratibodha is reversing that. Kaschid dhira pratyagatmanam aikshat avritta chakshur amritatvam icchan. Some great seeker, heroic seeker, turned the attention inwards. Covering the eyes means actually turning the attention inwards and realized, I am pure consciousness. So this is another meaning of Prati. Prati means opposite direction. So the bodha is usually externalized. Pratibodha, inward eyes. Spirituality, Vedanta especially. And one sadhu said, "Ye Vedanta thoda hatke hota hai Mahatma ji." So Vedanta, you have to initially in Vedanta, you have to step back. You have to step back. You have to turn within. These 3 meanings, all nice meanings, all proper meanings, but they are not what the Upanishad is saying. Upanishad is saying 2 levels. First level, fantastic. Second level, even more fantastic. First level, Pratibodha Veditam Matam means in every experience, consciousness is being experienced. That sadhu said, usko upalakshit kaise kare? How will you experience it? Just like in every activity of these electrical gadgets, it is actually electricity which is being experienced. In every experience of moonlight, it is the sunlight being experienced there. In every experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, breathing in, speaking, in all of these experiences and more, it is consciousness which is being experienced. Just like when I see you, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing you. I'm not only seeing you, I'm experiencing through my eyes. So whatever I see, indirectly my eyes are being revealed. I know my eyes are there. I know my eyes are open. How do you know that? Because I see you. Because I see anything, my eyes are there. Similarly, he says, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. When in every experience of life, not just sitting quietly in samadhi, chitta vritti nirodha, very good. But when you open your eyes, চোখ বন্ধ করলে তিনি আছেন, চোখ খুললে তিনি নেই, কেমন ভগবান? When you open your eyes also, every experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, see how beautifully this Upanishad is argued and presented. The teacher is still answering that first question of the disciple. How do I see? How do I hear? How do I think? In all these experiences, Brahman is being revealed to you as the light Jyotira Jyoti, Ujala Hridi Kantara, the light of lights which lights up our entire experience of life. God is available to us in every experience. Pratibodha viditam matam. Swami Ashokanji says, where will I see God? Foolish question. Where will you not see God? This is one. Deeper meaning, final meaning. Not only that, consciousness is illumining all these objects. So whenever I experience anything, consciousness is shining forth, I can reverse it, pratibodha, and say, yes, I am consciousness. And what is that consciousness? Not body, not mind, free of all body-mind problems. Good. But what are these objects? What is this thing? What is this thing? What is the nature of these objects? These objects are also consciousness. And I'm not going into that. That is the final interpretation of pratibodha viditam matam. Whatever we experience in the world, before this we separated ourselves. I am subject, this is object. I am drashta, this is drishya. But now, he says, tadeva brahmatvam viddhi. The Upanishad says, that consciousness is the underlying reality of the world. And this entire universe, I'm not arguing this, I'm not presenting arguments, no time. This entire universe is one with the consciousness which is experiencing it. By an extraordinary power, it is appearing as its own object. It says where Adhara and Adhe are one. The support and the supported. See, the stage is the support. The table is supported there. The table and the stage are different. But in Sat, in existence, that which is the support, Brahman, that which is supported, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, is one with Brahman. Where Drashta and Drishya are one. Usually we separate Drashta and Drishya, seer and seen. Pratibodha viditam matam says, whatever you're seeing as Drishya, that too is consciousness. Everything is shining in that same light, and they are all light. This universe is light shining. I don't have time to explain this to you. I met this amazing man, Carlo Rovelli. He's a quantum theorist. He was so excited when he heard this. He said, Swami, this universe is light shining. I can demonstrate this to you. It is consciousness shining everywhere. Light shining. He did not say consciousness shining. He said light shining from a quantum theoretic perspective. So anyway, universe itself is consciousness, not as an object. It is you shining as your own object. Therefore, whenever I experience something, that which I am experiencing is also bodha, is also consciousness. It is Brahman who is both the subject and the object. Swami Shastragnanandaji, I'll end with this. He told me something so beautiful. He said once he was standing in Belur Mutt and prasad was being distributed. And revered Swami Pramayanandaji was standing there. And our Maharaj, he said excitedly to Pramayanandaji, Maharaj, it's so wonderful to see all of mother's children have come, devotees, and they're taking mother's prasad, Mayar prasad pacha, Mayar Shantan, Mayar Bhaktora. Maharaj said, Ki bolle to me? I said, mother's prasad and the devotees are taking? He said, na. Ami to dekchi, Mai eshe Mayar prasad pachen. All these devotees are the Divine Mother. And they are accepting, they're taking the prasad of the Divine Mother. There's only Mother. There's not mother and devotee of mother. All of them are mother. Pratibodha viditam matam. In every experience the divine is shining forth. Then it is done. Ata satyam asti. Now it is done. The goal of life is realized. So this is the grand culmination, I think. The Upanishad will go on. But this is the peak of the Upanishad, the climax of the Upanishad. Now the doors are opened in every experience. One sadhu says, Kahin koi mrityu nahi Mahatma ji, kahin koi dukh nahi, kahin koi jadata nahi. It is all Sat, it is all Chit, it is all Ananda. Therefore, no death anywhere. Even when the body dies, there is no death for you. There is no object, Jada. It's all consciousness. There is no dukkha really. What is called Sukha Dukkha are both Ananda. So this grand vision the Upanishad leaves us with. I pray to Sri Sri Thakur, to Sri Sri Ma, to Swamiji, to bless all of us. Today is the birth anniversary of Srimad Swami Premanandaji Maharaj, Baburam Maharaj. So by the grace of these great ones, may this light shine in our hearts. And may we see this light and experience it every moment, choicelessly, effortlessly, instantly, all our lives. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
আমরা আপনাদের সকলকে ধন্যবাদ জানাই, আর ধন্যবাদ জানাই আমাদের আজকের বক্তা পরম প্রিয় সর্বপ্রিয় শ্রীমৎ স্বামী সর্বপ্রিয়ানন্দজিকে এবং উনি বললেন এতক্ষণ থেকে কনসাসনেস ওটা কিন্তু দূরের জিনিস নয়, আমাদের ভেতরেরই জিনিস। স্বামীজি বলছেন, when we see our body we do not see our mind, when we see our mind we do not see our spirit or consciousness, mind that, and when we see our consciousness we do not see our body and mind. What does it mean? এর অর্থ হচ্ছে, যখন আমরা শরীর নিয়ে থাকি জাগ্রত অবস্থাতে তখন মন আমরা দেখি না, কিন্তু মনকে আলাদা করি যখন ঘুমের মধ্যে একটা স্বপ্ন অবস্থা আছে, স্বপ্নে মনটা আলাদা হয়ে যায়। আমার বডিগুলো পড়ে থাকে আমাদের বিছানাতে, আমরা সব বেরিয়ে গিয়ে জগতে বিশাল একটা জগৎ সৃষ্টি করি, সেখানে সাফার করি, আবার এনজয়ও করি সেই জগৎ। আপনারা, আমি অনেককে জিজ্ঞাসা করেছি আমার ছাত্রদের, দু একজন বলেছে তোমরা কিন্তু খুব গিফটেড এবং ট্যালেন্টেড এবং খুব পিওর। তারা বলেছে আমরা স্বপ্নে আমাদের নিজেদের দেখি, কিন্তু ইউজুয়ালি স্বপ্নে আমরা আমাদের বডি দেখি না। স্বপ্নে সমস্ত দেখছি খুব যারা ভাগ্যবান ভাগ্যবতী তারা নিজেদের বডিও দেখতে পারেন। সেটা যদি দেখেন তাহলে কিন্তু এটা মনে রাখবেন যে ইউ আর ফর্চুনেট ইন দ্যাট ইউ সি ইউর ওন বডি। You can see your own body by coming out of your body as mind. তখন তো আপনি মনের মধ্যে আছেন, স্বপ্নে তো মনের মধ্যে আছেন। সেই স্বপ্নে যখন আপনি আপনার নিজের বডি দেখছেন তখন ইট ইজ সামথিং ডিফারেন্ট, সামথিং অ্যাস্টাউন্ডিং। এবং যখন গভীর ঘুমে চলে যায় তখন এই স্বপ্নও থাকে না, বডিও থাকে না, জাগ্রত থাকে না, স্বপ্ন অবস্থাও থাকে না। তখন যে অবস্থায় থাকি সেটাই আমাদের চৈতন্য, এইটাই আমাদের জীব চৈতন্য। আমরা 5-6 ঘন্টা যদি আমাদের স্বরূপের সঙ্গে না থাকতে পারতাম আমরা পাগল হয়ে যেতাম। কেন উপনিষদ এত বারবার ধরে চৈতন্য চৈতন্য করছেন, কনসাসনেস, কারণ ওই কনসাসনেস থাকলে পরে আর অন্য কিছু থাকতে পারে না, আর ওকে জানতেও পারি না। জানতে পারবো কি করে? মন নিয়ে তো জানতে হবে। ঘুমের সময় তো মন নেই, ঘুমের সময় বুদ্ধিও নেই, ঘুমের সময় বডিও নেই। যেটা দিয়ে জানবো সেজন্য বলা হচ্ছে অবাং মনস গোচরম, বাক্য এবং মনের বাইরে। সেটা কোনো কিছু দিয়ে ব্যাখ্যা করা যাবে না। মতং যস্য নবিদস্য বলে গেলেন ভালো করে। যারা বলে জেনেছি তারা জানে না, জানবে কি করে? সে তো অবজেক্ট নয়। আপনি কোনো অবজেক্ট খুঁজে পাবেন গভীর ঘুমে? স্বপ্নহীন ঘুম। অবজেক্ট খুঁজতে গেলে অ্যাটলিস্ট স্বপ্নে আসতে হবে, তাই তো? আমি আর একটা জিনিসকে দেখছি। এইটুকু মনে রাখবেন যে এইটি আমাদের অস্তিত্বের চরমতম অবস্থা, যে আমরা কনসাসনেস, উই আর অল কনসাসনেস। এবং ওই কনসাসনেসে আমরা সমস্ত পার্থক্য ভুলে যাই। উই গো বিয়ন্ড অল ডিফারেন্সেস। এইটাই হচ্ছে সবচেয়ে বড় কথা। কে বড় লোক, কে ধনী, কেউ বিচারপতি, কে মক্কেল, কে রুগী, কে ডাক্তার, সমস্ত পার্থক্য, কে পুরুষ, কে নারী, এই সমস্ত পার্থক্যগুলো সব গভীর ঘুমে থাকে না। সেই জন্য আমরা কিন্তু সকলের সঙ্গে সমান হয়ে থাকি। এবং যদি আপনার শুদ্ধ কর্ম হয়, এটা ঠাকুর বলছেন, শুদ্ধ কর্ম যদি আপনি করে চলেন, আপনার সম্যক জীবিকা যদি হয়, আপনার যদি লাইভলিহুড, পেশা যদি আপনি শুদ্ধ করতে পারেন, তাহলে শুদ্ধ মন হবে। সেই শুদ্ধ মনে আপনি গুরু কৃপাতে ধ্যানে বসলে পরই আপনার মন সমাধিমগ্ন হবে। ধারণাতে আসবে, ধারণা থেকে ধ্যান থেকে সমাধিতে আসবে। সমাধিতে আপনি ঘুমের অবস্থায় চলে যাবেন, তখনই আপনি বুঝতে পারবেন। অর্থাৎ অনায়াসে যে ঘুম হচ্ছিল, সেই ঘুমের থেকে যখন আয়াস নিয়ে, মানে পরিশ্রম নিয়ে ধ্যানের মধ্য দিয়ে যদি সেই অবস্থায় যেতে পারেন, কখনো 1 সেকেন্ড 2 সেকেন্ডও যদি যান, দেখবেন যে আপনার সমস্ত ক্লান্তি শ্রান্তি হরণ করা হয়ে গেছে, মানে হিত হয়েছে, অপহৃত। তা এইটাই আমরা কেন বারবার বলি, আপনারা হাসেন, এত হাসেন মানে কি, আমাদের অনেক সাধুও বলেছেন, আমি তো নাম করবো না, খুব বিখ্যাত পজিশনে ছিলেন, এই তোমরা এত কনসাসনেস বলো কেন, আপনি এছাড়া তো কিছু নেই। কেন বলি যে কনসাসনেস ছাড়া আমরা পাগল হয়ে যেতাম। We have to be with our consciousness for at least 5 to 6 hours a day. Otherwise, we would have been all lunatics. That is it. আপনারা এত সুন্দর কথা শুনলেন, এত সুন্দর ভাষাতে। আমরা আপনাদের এই ধীর স্থির মতি দেখে খুব উদ্ভাসিত, উল্লসিত। আপনাদের আমি শ্রদ্ধা শুভেচ্ছা জানাই। আপনারা মানে শ্রোতৃবৃন্দ হিসেবে অত্যন্ত ভালো, অত্যন্ত ভালো, খুব খুব শৃঙ্খলার সঙ্গে আপনারা শুনেছেন, কেউ উঠে যাননি, এমনকি শেষ হবার পরে উঠে যাননি। আমার বক্তৃতা আমার ধন্যবাদ শোনার জন্য বসে আছে, এই জন্য আমি আরও আপনাদের কাছে কৃতজ্ঞ। আর বিশ্বরূপ ভাই, অর্থাৎ ওর নামও বিশ্বরূপ এবং সর্বপ্রিয়, সমস্ত রূপ ধারণ করে বসে আছে, আর সকলের প্রিয়, সেই জন্যই আমরা তাকে অসংখ্য শ্রদ্ধা শুভেচ্ছা ভালোবাসা জানাই।